Hey everybody, this is Jason with Outdoor Adventures, and thanks for joining me. Today we're going to talk about starting a fire. Now there are a ton of different ways to start a fire, everything from teepee structures to feather sticking to using a ferro rod to just using a lighter. Today we're just going to be using a lighter and a very cheap, easy fire starter that you can make at home for practically nothing. All you need is some cotton balls and some Vaseline petroleum jelly, and that's what I'm using. And what you do is you take a cotton ball and your Vaseline, take it in your hands and scoop out a portion of some Vaseline or petroleum jelly, and you want it to kind of mush it in together with your hands until pretty much the entire thing is soaked in the Vaseline. Now, once you're done with that, I suggest you get 4 or 5 cotton balls. Just throw it in your pack and kind of forget about it. Make sure you refill your supply after each trip. And that's what I'm going to be using. I'm going to be using one of these cotton balls. Now, the key to successful fire making is in your preparation. You can't just put your fire starter down and throw sticks that are this big on your fire. You have to start small. And what I recommend is start your fire in 3 stages. For the first stage, I like to collect wood that's approximately the size of pencil lead. Okay, so you can see that. And get a good pile going here, because this is what really is going to get your fire started for you right off the bat. The next stage, I like to get some sticks that are approximately the size of my thumb. Okay? And then for the third stage, something just a little bigger, maybe the size of 2 of your fingers, or if your fire's hot enough, get something that's a little smaller than your wrist, maybe half the size of your wrist, and then you can build up your fire from there with wrist size, arm size, and then your leg size, really, and you can just keep piling on your wood. Now, if the ground is a little wet before you start your fire, what you can do is you can just build up a small base, and you can start your fire on that. So that's actually what we're going to do right now, because the ground is a little bit wet. I think it rained last night. So we're just going to take some of these sticks and just build up a very small base. And we're going to put our cotton balls soaked in Vaseline or petroleum jelly right on top of that. The next step is to get yourself a lighter or a ferro rod. I'd recommend a lighter. Just because they're about the same weight, to be honest, and it's a lot easier when you're beginning out making a fire for camping to just use a lighter. And these Vaseline soaked cotton balls will burn anywhere from, I'd say, 4 to 7 minutes, depending on how much Vaseline or petroleum jelly you've used. So we're just going to light this up, and then we're going to take a handful of our small sticks, and we're just going to put it lightly on top. Make sure there's enough air space around the sticks that you put on, or else it's not going to work. The fire requires fuel and oxygen to burn. Okay, and once that's started to go, you can simply pile up some more in alternating directions. Again, keep in mind that it needs oxygen to burn. Don't just put your whole pile on and smother it. Make sure there's airspace to get this thing going. And what you can do is, as the fire is slowly burning these small sticks off, just keep getting very small piles and alternating the direction that you're putting the sticks. Okay, and remember, let your fire breathe. It's not going to do you any good if you smother it. It's very important. Now, if there's a lot of bugs in the area, you can add leaves to the top to make some smoke, and that will pretty much take care of the bugs that are bothering you. It's a little buggy here, so that's what I'm going to do. And hopefully you can still see that. Now, once the first stage of your fire is going good, then you can start breaking up your 4-finger size sticks. Just pile it around, keeping in mind to give it some air. And just, you want to start building up your fire. But again, make sure your fire is able to breathe, or else it's just going to go out. And eventually you'll end up making a structure known as a teepee. Now, the teepee structure will burn very hot and very fast, and that's what we want. We want to get the fire nice and hot so we can add our larger fuel to the setup. Now, if you see your fire start to go out, what you can easily do is just give it some air, and whenever you give it some air, make sure you go at the base, not at the top, or you're just gonna end up doing nothing. So just real light. Okay. Alright, now my fire's going pretty good, so I can pretty much add whatever I want as long as I make sure that the sides, again, have airflow. And again, if your fire starts to dwindle, just add some air. Now from stage 2, let it get a little hot. Feed this a lot of these stage 2 size sticks. And then when you're ready, when it's hot enough, you can start adding your bigger sticks, the sticks that are about half the width of your wrist. And you're going to add them exactly like you did with stage 2 and stage 1. And that's pretty much it, guys. It's a very easy process as long as you take the time and prepare your fuel in advance. You can't just get, your stage 1 and 2 sticks and be done with it. You have to continually feed and care for your fire. Make sure you guys are safe with your fire. Don't try and start a fire if the wind is blowing like crazy. If you got 30-mile-an-hour winds, it's probably not the best idea to start a fire. Or build a fire where it's going to be sheltered from the wind, so your sparks and your embers don't fly everywhere. It's very, very easy to start a forest fire, and many people have done it accidentally. You may think that it can't happen to you, but it can. And eventually it's going to topple over, and whenever that happens, you are pretty much ready to start putting your logs on. And by logs, I don't mean your gigantic, your gigantic logs that aren't split. I'm just talking about, something this size. You were just ready to kind of pile it on, and whenever you lay your logs down, lengthwise, and that's what's going to give you your slow burning fire. That's the kind of fire that you want. So guys, that's pretty much how to start a fire with a Vaseline soaked cotton ball. And for beginners struggling with this, I really, really recommend you just make your own fire starter. Don't try to, feather stick right off the bat. Don't try to collect birch bark unless you want to try it. I mean, by all means, try it, but have some Vaseline soaked cotton balls. S-bit cubes work really well. They burn for about, I want to say, 10 to 15 minutes. And they burn a lot hotter than cotton balls as well. So guys, if you have any questions or you're struggling, don't hesitate, comment below, and I'll be sure to get back to you. And thanks for watching, guys. I hope this helps somebody.